what the heck is going on with the college football playoff? We don't know on the beat, but maybe this guy will. Rich Clark, the executive director, or at least he's trying to get everything in place.
We're working on it. We're working on it.
All right, I am Austin Ward. That is Jeremy Birmingham, and we sit here and debate this format, that format, this number of buys, straight seating. It's like everyone has a different opinion.
Yeah.
And that puts you in the spotlight.
It does. And, I would say a difficult spot, but actually very understandable, because what you have is really just different philosophies on how things should happen. Some people believe there shouldn't be a lot of subjectivity in the selection process. Others believe that there should, and that's part of the sort of chaos of college football, right? But, when you have philosophical differences, it does create some tension.
So, Rich, you're a little over a year into this job full-time, right?
Yes.
Pretty
interesting first year,
tumultuous period to be doing it.
It's been fantastic, though. I love it. I love it. It's college football, right? If we weren't debating these things and talking about them, it wouldn't be as exciting.
Yeah. I bet every single person has asked you, but I have to do the same thing. What is the ideal format for you? If you got to cast the final vote,
you are the only vote that matters right now. Rich, tell us what it is.
Right now, me or he? I don't know.
He's got to be he's got to take the political answer.
Okay, so here's what I'll say. That I do believe that there's merits both ways, right? I think that our format last year was great.
Yeah.
I really actually loved it. I thought the 12-team format was good. We're making some improvements to it this year with the ranking and seeding. If you remember, we're not going to reseed the top 4 conference champions, so there'll be a straight ranking, and which will equal the seeding. So I thought that was a great format. There's some merit, right, to be said for an automatic qualifier format, in that it is played on the field. You let the decisions be made by the teams on the field, and it takes a bit of subjectivity out. You'd still need the selection committee to do the seeding of those teams, but it's a much less subjective format. Now, the other format, the 5+11 that some talk about, which is going just by straight ranking, I think that one adds the excitement and the chaotic element to it, and I do think that both of them keep fans engaged, but it's subjective, and you have human beings involved in that process, and people are going to be unhappy. Some people are going to think that their team got in and they didn't.
Yeah.
But that's been ageless in college football.
But that doesn't mean it's been good.
Well, that's true.
Right.
Exactly. So you're kind of hitting on it, because both ideas, they're philosophically different, but they're both valid, right?
I think a lot of people look at the NFL, right? And now the difference, of course, is 32 teams versus 134 teams. So the NFL, you have records, you have standings, you have tiebreakers, and that's how you decide who's in the playoff, right? So we can't do that in college football with 134 teams and every league having different rules and every league having different conference games and everything else. As in your role, do you hear the arguments and I'm not asking you to call anybody out, but do you hear arguments and go, come on, that's just stupid? Or do you, because everyone's positioning for themselves, right?
Yeah. That's a great question. And honestly, I have never heard one of the commissioners bring something up that I was just like, you're out of your mind. That is outlandish. Because they always, these are some really seasoned professionals. Yeah. They think through their arguments. Yeah. They're not just throwing stuff on the table. So it's really hard. You can never just pick enough holes in any one format option that would negate it, right? So that's the hard part. And they have to come together. These guys get in a room, they discuss this, they debate it, and they have to come out of the room in the end and keep working together. So they're very collegial, but they disagree. And sometimes they have to agree to disagree. And one other point I'll make, if they don't come to an agreement on this, then we stick with the format that we have. So in the end, we're going to be good.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a great college football season, after this year.
And that's December 1st.
That's when the decision is supposed to be made. That's our deadline contractually. We have to have it then. But they have some decisions within their conferences that are going to be driven by what decision they come to with the format. So we'll get there, but it's not easy.
See, this is just a couple minutes. You seem to have a pretty optimistic viewpoint of it, and that you're having fun with this first year.
Yeah.
Out and debate is part of college football. When it becomes the commissioners or the leagues themselves sort of arguing, and it feels like there's been a ton of bickering, and the Big Ten wants this, and the SEC wants that. That part can't be as fun.
Yeah. So I would not call it bickering.
Healthy conversation.
Yeah, well, they disagree,
Yeah.
right? And they're, like I said, these are professionals. Okay, I equate it, it's like Congress, right? And this is true. Listen,
so nothing's going to get done.
I'm along for the ride.
All right. But let me just say,
going to get done.
No. It's like Congress, except we're going to get to an answer.
Yeah.
And having worked with Congress a lot, they get to the answer when they need to get there. And sometimes it gets dragged out and people are waiting, but they get there. Now with these commissioners, though, each of them, they each represent their conference. That's their job,
Sure.
right? That is what they get paid to do. But then they have to also make their decisions with an eye on the greater good of college football and college athletics. But their job is to look out for their conference. So they go in the room and they're talking about this and they're debating just like in Congress, but in the end they got to be collegial. And probably more so than Congress, they come out shaking hands and they go,
you're advocating for your
gonna
constituents.
Yeah, you absolutely are, 100%.
When you have the first year of the 12-team playoff go the way it did, obviously there were some question marks. There was a lot of back and forth on the last day of the decision day with Indiana or SMU or Alabama. Or when you add the subjective element to it, last year I think it surprised people that there is that subjectivity, but yet the committee still went with the lesser brands, which a lot of people just view college football as just a TV show now. Like it's all just for television, right? So not putting in Alabama is a bold decision.
Oh yeah.
When that happens, do you sit back and go, "Ooh, we did the right thing," or is it now we just wait for the fallout?
No, I think it's both. I think we did the right thing. And I watched the committee deliberate. They take their job very seriously, and they know that they're not going to please everyone. Yeah. I mean, that's 100% known, is that you're going to 100% not please everybody. But they want to make sure that they do the right thing, and they agonize over that. They're like, oh man, we're not going to be putting Alabama in, and what are people going to say? And they might even talk about that. But in the end, they go, but we got to do the right thing. And they look at a lot of data, they watch a lot of film, they have great discussions, and then they vote. And when the vote is done, they live it, they own it, and they walk out of the room going, this is what we decided. And then they catch heat, but that's part of being a leader. That's part of being a courageous committee member. And I was proud of them. But then, like you said, they wait for the fallout. They're like, oh boy, here it comes.
And the fallout is immediately, okay, now we need 16 teams.
Right.
Because Alabama has to get in.
But the number of teams, that wasn't a discussion that just started this year. They had been talking about that for a long time. But people liked the playoff, and they were like, we want more.
Well, 16 makes a lot of sense. When it went to 12, both Austin and I were like, this is the worst number that we could possibly land on. Like 12 made no sense to us. But it also doesn't matter because we're not the ones making the decision. We just have to talk about it. So when it goes to 16, how do we then, we're watching college basketball now go to 68 and then 72. Right. How do we get to a point where we say enough is enough? Because there is always the next dollar to be made. There is always one more round of games that is going to add, millions of dollars of sponsorship. So how do we get to a point where it's like, this is enough?
Well, there's only so many weekends in a football season. So I
don't know. Last year we were covering the Buckeyes till February.
You're right. Okay. But still, you have to take into account student athlete health. You have to take into account the academic year, commencement, finals, all those things that we're still talking about student athletes, right? There's TV windows that you have to be able to manage so that we can put them on TV. And just the fact that you want to keep fans hungry, right? If you go too far, people are like, all right, we don't ever want people to go, all right, I've had enough. We always want the season to end with them going, I can't wait till next season. Yeah. The commissioners actually think about all these things. Right now, 16 is the number, that is the the biggest number I've ever heard a commissioner talk about. I've had other people go, why don't we just go to 32? And I'm like, oh my gosh, that would not work out so well.
No.
I am
Well, and it's
sure.
also the physical toll of the game, as you mentioned.
Exactly. It's just, there's just some limits. But I think 12, 14, 16 are numbers that they've been talking about for a while. They wanted to see how 12 worked out, and we're going to see again. We're going to get another season. But I think, we're not going to get beyond.
You said it now.
I know.
We got Rich Clark on the record. All right, good. We're locking it in at 16.
I have one more question.
All right. No,
I told you when we sat down, we are rooted out of Columbus, Ohio. What does it take to lose a championship trophy in the CFP era? Is there any world where, let's say, a program had some run-ins with the rules, for example, and they won a
This
national
isn't his
championship?
job.
Is there a conversation that you guys, as a CFP, have to engage in with the NCAA, for example, to say, well, we're not going to.
Rich, he wants you to take Michigan's trophy away. That's all.
I don't want you to take it away. I want to know.
I don't want you to have to read between the lines.
Yeah. No,
I want to know.
I was kind of
I want to know if there's a world where those conversations ever happen, or if it's always going to be, well, we're separate, we're doing our own thing.
Right.
The NCAA can do whatever it wants, but the CFP says this is our champion.
Well, first, NCAA we're great partners, right? We are a separate entity.
Right.
However, we work with NCAA. I'm part of the FB Soccer Football Bowl Subdivision Oversight Committee, so I'm a part of that committee. So we abide by NCAA rules. They are the governing body. Our commissioners also are going to, manage this whole process with us. So there certainly could be a situation where a school lost a trophy. So I will not say it'll never happen. However, it wouldn't be my decision. That is not in my governance structure,
I'm just trying
not
to
in my
pile
contract.
all this stuff on your plate.
I know. I see what you're doing.
You've seen the meme, right? I can't complain about having food on my plate when the goal was to eat, right? Here we go. This
there
is
we
your
are.
opportunity. I'm piling it on.
Yeah, well, on the food side, if you kept piling on, I keep eating. In this instance, though,
How many tacos can you eat in a setting?
As many as are on the plate. I can do it.
Rich Clark had no idea what he was getting into when he sat down, but we certainly appreciate
great.
these thoughts from the executive director of the College Football Playoff. Great to talk with you, get an update. Hopefully we get some insight by December 1st.
Yeah, it's great talking to you guys. And thanks for what you do, really, to cover college football. It makes it great for all of us.
It's our pleasure. We love college football, and we love the chaos, too, because it gives us something to talk about.
Absolutely.
365 days a year.
All right. Thanks again to Rich Clark for joining us. He's Birm. I'm Austin. We will talk to you all later.